Hello, welcome to my sewing room. My name is Christine, and this is my channel, Christine Sews a Lot. In September, I managed to make 20 items. What makes this even more amazing is I was away from my sewing room for 3 weeks. So let's get into it. What did I make in September? I participated in Project Dresser Girl, which was headed up by Mari of Mari Sews. I pledged to make at least a dozen dresses, and I managed to make 13. I sewed 3 different patterns. I sewed one pattern that I had never sewn before, one pattern I had made once before, and the third pattern I have made dozens of dresses. I'm going to start off with a pattern I have never used before, and it turned out to be the most frustrating sew in months. This is the Jump End Dress by Olive and Design, and I have more detailed information of what went wrong with this pattern in another video that I'm going to link below. I termed this project as being snake bit because it went wrong in so many different ways. Some of them were my fault, and some of them were pattern drafting issues. The biggest problem was that this strap, as drafted, did not fit into the dress. I did make the corrections. I think it turned out pretty cute, and I did donate that pattern to a charity shop after making detailed notes on what I ran into with the pattern. This is fully reversible. I have pockets on both sides of the dress, and I think a little girl's going to really enjoy this. I made it in a size 5. This next pattern I have made only once before, and this is a peasant style dress. I made this in a size 10 because I had a lot of this poppy fabric. I drafted some pockets to add to the dress, and I think a young lady is really going to enjoy wearing this dress. This dress took me, I want to say, about an hour and a half to 2 hours to make, and since I had pledged I wanted to make at least a dozen dresses, I knew with all I had going on in the month of September that I needed to choose a tried and true pattern that I could really crank out the dresses. So for that, I turned to the Pullen A Line jumper. I made 11 of these dresses in various sizes. Now, I want to state right from the get-go that I did check with the ambassador where I will be donating these dresses to see if they would accept dresses with button tabs. The ambassador that I am donating through will accept these, so this pattern is good for where they're sending the dresses. I did a very detailed tutorial and sew along to this pattern. The pattern is from Martha Pullen's book Applique, which is out of print, but the technique for inserting this lining, which is a top tip, can be used on many different patterns. I use this method on several of the Children's Corner patterns that I make up, and I really love this. So, what makes this a great dress? It's really durable. You can make it in a quilting weight cotton. Here it is in some Tula Pink fabric. You can get some unicorns and bright, and I think a little girl's really gonna love this. This is a size 4, and both the lining and the exterior fabric are quilting weight cotton, which is super durable. I drafted a pocket for the dress, and in the video where I do the sew along, I give you the instructions on how to very easily insert a lining with a neat, clean finish all of the seams are enclosed, how to sew a lining so that the lining does not drop below the hem of the dress. I don't know how many of you have been annoyed by having the dress where the lining is falling out below the hemline and peeking through. I give you instructions and tips on how to not have that happen. And I also show how to use your sewing machine to attach a button. And you don't need a fancy sewing machine, a simple zigzag stitch, and I give you some tips on how to neatly do that. I'm going to be sending all 13 dresses to my ambassador this week. I mentioned that I was away from my sewing room for 3 weeks. I was in Pittsburgh helping out my son and daughter-in-law with the new baby. While I was in Pittsburgh, my daughter-in-law asked me if I could make a hat for the baby because the sun hat she had was too tight and the baby did not like to wear it. This was the moment that all of us who sew are waiting for, when we get to justify those patterns that we bought with nobody in mind, that just in case we might need to sew it someday. So I was able to tell my daughter, well, yes I can. I happen to have the perfect sun hat pattern on my laptop. So we printed out the pattern, measured the baby's head, and I got 2 perfectly fitting sun hats sewn up while I was visiting. It's a quick, easy pattern, and I was able to use it with scraps. And I'm going to insert some photos of the baby wearing her hat. The first hat in this pink and white seersucker, I used scraps from a project where I made a dressing gown or a robe for my mother for her birthday. The other hat was made with scraps from that jump end dress that I had cut out while I was in Pittsburgh. Now, I did not get a lot of sewing done while I was in Pittsburgh for the obvious reason. There was a reason why the kids called and asked if I could come and help out. When I asked, when would you like me to come? They said now. So that should have been an indication that I wasn't going to be able to get a lot of sewing done while I was there, which was fine because I thoroughly enjoyed helping out with my new little granddaughter. While I was in Pittsburgh, Charlie was having a big clean out at home, going through closets, seeing what he could declutter and donate. He loves to get rid of stuff. Makes him very happy. He sent me a photo of my sewing room closet. It looked terrible. But that's because I had several trash bags full of all those tiny scraps from projects. I was very quick to answer his text with, "Don't be alarmed. That's very purposeful. I am saving those scraps for a project that I'm going to get right on of making a closet core poof for the grandsons." I had bought this space theme fabric for the boys because that's the theme that their bedroom is decorated in. I thought they would really enjoy it. It is a light to middleweight cotton canvas, and I sewed up the closet core poof and I stuffed it with 3 9-gallon trash bags full of little scraps. Now, when I first made this poof, and I published a video where I talked about making this poof, I was not too happy with the shape of it. The shape ended up being taller than intended, and then the circumference, the sides around the poof, was all sagging because it wasn't completely filled out. And I asked y'all if you had any ideas on how I could get that nice shape to the poof. And Roy Lynn came through for me. She had said that she heard that if you stuffed the poof without the bag insert, you could get a better fill on the poof. Now, I had made a bag out of some muslin that I put all the scraps in and then stuffed inside the Pouf. And so I dumped it out. I stuffed all the scraps in without the bag, and I am much happier with the shape of my Pouf, and I'll insert a picture of said Pouf. So thanks, Royland. I appreciate it. By this time, I'm ready to make something for me. 2 of my September makes were clothing items for me. The first one I completed is in the wash, but I'll insert a picture of the top. I made the Cielo top by Closet Core Patterns. I really do enjoy this top. It makes me feel very put together. I love the fabric because I love linen, but also it drapes nicely and it's not too wrinkly and creasy. So I am going to be making another Cielo top. Yesterday I was watching Sarah Sewed, and she was talking about her plans to make the Cielo top in a cotton dobby fabric that looked very much like this fabric my Friday Pattern Company Sagebrush top is made from. I have this in 2 other colorways. I have it in red and green, and I'm thinking of making the Cielo top up in the green colorway of this fabric. I've been buying a lot of fabric and feeling a little bit guilty about all the fabric I was buying, and I wanted to have some more me-made clothes, so I made myself the Westcliff dress by Friday Pattern Company. I love this dress, and I have a pattern review on my channel, and I'll link to that in case you're interested in taking a look at that. I sewed this up in this beautiful art gallery fabric. It is Hazy Daisy's Marine Stretch, and I like this fabric so much I ordered more. So this dress was a quick and easy make. I made it over the course of a weekend, and I finished it in time to go to church. So this is a quick, maybe a couple hour make, and like with all Friday Pattern Companies, I enjoyed the sew. Makes number 19 and 20 were also using some recently purchased fabric. I had purchased some cotton and steel rayon fabric from fabric.com, and when I received it, it was not quite the colors I thought. It was not going to work well for me. I bought it with the intention of making a blouse for myself, but the fabric is perfect for my sweet niece, Caroline. I made Caroline the Friday Pattern Company Sagebrush top, and I really love how these statement sleeves look in this drapier rayon, and I need to make another one for myself out of rayon. It's super cute. I had a little extra fabric left over, so I made her a scrunchie, and I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I made it in a size extra small. My niece is very petite, has a small frame, so I'm really excited to see how this looks on. She promised to send me a picture, and I will be sharing that with you when I receive it. I did add a label to this. This is a label by Kylie and the Machine, and it says, "Auntie made it." So that is what I have made in the month of September. If you've enjoyed these videos, I've included some links to some other videos I think you would like, but also if you would please subscribe and hit the like button, and most of all, join me in the discussion below, and let's talk sewing. Until next time, I hope you have a joyful week, and that you find the good in all things, especially sewing.